What's up, guys? We're back with another video. Today we're going to talk about XMen. So Disney bought Fox for $7.3 billion
with the P. Pillion.
Yeah. So they got Fantastic Four. They got X-Men back. We're going to talk about X-Men. It's exciting.
Yeah. These are the kind of videos that we're going to really enjoy doing, and they're going to be theorizing videos. For this in particular, I'm really excited because in my mind, I have a lot of ideas already, and I know going into Phase 4, Phase 5, all those phases, a part of me will be slightly disappointed. But I want to share it with you guys because I want you to be equally as disappointed. So...
Just poison the well.
So, you want me to go first? And
Yes.
then you could throw in your ideas?
Yeah, basically
Okay.
crap on whatever you say, probably.
Yeah.
Go for it.
All right. So, I have thoughts that, we don't have the mutants yet in the MCU. But we do have mutants, right? We have Wanda, we have Quicksilver, and some other, enhanced people can be considered mutants as well, depending on where their abilities came from. Now, with Wanda and Quicksilver, their powers came from one of the Infinity Stones.
Right.
Because Hydra experimented on them and thus powers. However, it's possible that the reason why the Infinity Stone was able to imbue them with powers, because there is no other precedent for this.
Right.
Infinity Stones just haven't been able to give people powers, except with these two. It's possible that it could be written into the narrative that they had mutant genes that were shrouded or subdued. And so using the Infinity Stone could awaken those genes. I also think it would be pretty cool if Charles Xavier has been around for a long time at this point. And he's been actively working to cloak mutants. Maybe even give a mass delusion that, over the public, that, they don't even notice mutants, like for the scaly ones or the weird ones, stuff like that. Or everyone is just everyone just has, anyone that's a mutant has subdued mutant genes.
Which would make sense because there were activated by stress or getting to be a certain age and stuff like that. So there's always kind of a trigger for those things happening.
Yeah. And it's potential, maybe there was an event hundreds of years ago that someone had put a curse, maybe, over the entire mutant race where they couldn't develop. And maybe the snap caused that because it was an Infinity Stone, and if you used Infinity Stones to awaken the siblings, the twins, then maybe you used an Infinity Stone snap and it awakens the race.
People blinking out and then blinking back in like they did and losing those 5 years. That kind of erased whatever was holding their mutant genes back.
Or it could have just awakened the gene entirely. With anyone. I think this could be a really cool way to do it. I don't know if that's how they're going to do it. I'm sure that whatever they do, they'll have to retcon some continuity.
Sure.
And they'll have to sort of fudge it a little bit because obviously there's been no mutants. Some things that we will have to contend with would be stories of Apocalypse. They'd have to contend with Magneto and Xavier. How are they that old and still around? Maybe there's a little tweaking on the ability to age slowly.
That's assuming they keep the same actors and characters from...
Not just actors, but storyline. History. With Magneto, he's very... his story's always been he was a survivor of the Holocaust.
Oh, that's a good point.
And so if if he is, then he'd have to age slower, which fantasy, so whatever. But you also have Charles Xavier. Perhaps there's like some sort of mental roundabout way he can slow down his aging.
Sure. That wouldn't be the craziest thing ever.
No. And so going forward, I think this could be really interesting because now you can start to weave these stories into the MCU in little bits in solo films. And then in the next Avengers film, our threat is Atlantis.
Okay.
And Namor is an old mutant. And so Namor shows up. Perhaps there's like something going on. Maybe it's even the raft.
They referenced Atlantis already in one of the movies, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Like disturbance off the coast
of Africa.
Ocean.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think it'd be really cool if Atlantis, was sort of like the antagonist.
Okay.
Came to the shores and waged war. What I love about Namor, what I've always loved about Namor, is he's such an anti-hero. He hates people and he loves his kingdom, but he's also a hero.
Right.
Like he can't help it, but he is awful.
Right.
He's an awful person, and so having him start his story as the villain, against the Avengers.
I like it.
And because something I love about the Avengers, like with Black Widow and Cap and Sam Jackson and Nick Fury, is they do research as they're going along through the story. And so what could be really cool is Atlantis is moving in, and now they're like, well, where did this come from? Who? They find, maybe maybe Xavier finally comes out. It's like, this is an old mutant. I know this because I'm a mutant, and here's a myriad of mutants. And
that works
Sam
pretty
Jackson sees that as a threat and doesn't play nice with the mutants.
Oh, so you think we go straight into inevitable
Avengers versus X-Men, and that's the title of your movie.
Oh, that would be really cool.
And then by the end of the film, Act 3, it's not the Avengers versus the X-Men. It's the Avengers with the X-Men fighting Namor. And that's your big bad.
Does Namor warrant that big? Yeah, I guess Army of Atlantis. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That could be cool. That could be really stinking cool.
And then that way you don't use Wolverine, you don't use Magneto. I guess maybe you could use Magneto as like maybe the impetus or the catalyst for the bad taste in Nick Fury's mouth. Maybe Nick Fury already knew about mutants and hid it from the Avengers.
Ooh, he does hidey stuff.
He hides things.
That would be interesting.
So then you have this already, like a bad taste in his mouth of mutants, and so that's where the clash comes initially.
Yeah.
And then you have like you can't have Cap, because then Cap would be the guy that's like, this is not right.
Yeah.
We can't do this.
Like, whose job? I guess Falcon is the moral compass now for the team.
But even not really.
Makes sense. Yeah.
He's always been the soldier. He'll go to battle if he's told to.
Yeah.
So I feel like if Fury was like, he'd be like, right on, Cap.
I think he's close enough with Cap that he would be like, what would Cap want me to do in this situation kind of guy. I think
maybe so.
The weight of inheriting the shield from him, and kind of because Captain America gave him like a second chance. When he found him, he kind of wasn't doing anything. And,
right. But he always said, wherever he goes, I go.
Yeah, that's
I just do it a lot slower.
That's true.
So I think that would be really cool. There's a lot in there to play with. I haven't given much thought to Wolverine coming into the franchise. I think personally they should hold off on Wolverine just a little bit. Just give it a little time to breathe. Do you
want to watch an X-Men movie that doesn't have Wolverine in it?
Well, what would be cool is with the Avengers, versus X-Men, you have some of the classics, like you have Xavier, you have Beast, you have Cyclops, you have Phoenix, not Phoenix, but Jean Grey, you have Nightcrawler, a lot of, like, Kitty Pryde, Colossus, and maybe even Bishop. Like, that would be amazing.
Bishop would be sick. Bishop would be real sick.
But if you have like a lot of unknowns and give them space for story, like, obviously you have the knowns, but then if you bring in some of the fringe X-Men and give them some story like they didn't do in the X-Men movies, then when it comes to, like, building up a franchise like Wolverine and, you know, other X-Men, other, like, more well-known X-Men, you have more of a platform to play on. You already created a foundation. Unless Hugh Jackman came back and did one fight with the Hulk. And that's our opening scene for the X-Men versus Avengers.
That'd be insane. I mean, we're in the Professor Hulk era already in the MCU, but I don't think that's a bad thing.
I think it's a bad thing.
It was, but
we'll get into that later.
But that would be sick, because you want hulked out Hulk versus Wolverine if you get that fight.
You want raging Hulk.
Then I think, was Wolverine on the Avengers side in Avengers versus X-Men? So, because we were just looking at that before. So that's a little interesting. Where I'm at is I'm okay with the MCU being different from the comics, as long as they're staying true to the characters and stuff like that. I don't care if they have to tweak the story, because we're all of a sudden in this world where we're way far ahead. We've skipped some stuff. We're going into some stuff that probably shouldn't be happening yet. Just like we talked about in our Spider-Man video. We're a little past your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man at this point already, unfortunately, but it doesn't make me dislike this version of Spider-Man.
Right.
Where my mind instantly goes when I look at X-Men is, are we going to pretend like the other movies never happened, except Hugh Jackman would be the one exception in that.
In Deadpool.
Are we going to... Oh, yeah, in Deadpool. Yeah,
that means we need Colossus.
It does, but in terms of just, we're going to pretend the other movies never happened and just introduce everything fresh under some kind of story mechanic, like you were saying before, where... we just haven't known about them, or Fury's known about them, but the public hasn't seen them yet. Maybe Fury's working with Xavier and they're keeping them all in the school, because this is kind of the first generation of mutants.
Fury in on it? That would be...
That's not bad.
Oh, man. If Fury was in on it...
Because he remains such a linchpin to the timing and introduction of all these characters.
It's like he's the conductor.
Yeah.
You know?
And he's been so great at it.
Yeah.
Like, he's been used so well.
Yeah. I think if we can acknowledge that the Deadpool...
So, we're supposed to get a Black Widow movie, right? There's been talks of, like, that new Will Smith movie coming out, and, like, all the face making people younger. We'd see a younger Nick Fury. We saw, a younger Nick Fury. He still looked like Sam Jackson to me.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, that's younger? Like, he looks the same.
Yeah.
But, like, younger Nick Fury recruiting Black Widow, and maybe there's something in there where that's where he finds the mutants and stuff like that. We get an end credit scene there to launch the X-Men.
I bet they're going that direction. Disney's been leaking stuff about the X-Men, like, being a part of their universe, like with the leaked footage of
Nick Fury
and Iron Man 1, talking about the mutants.
Yep.
There's also a deleted scene from, was it Iron Man 2, where Iron Man asks his AI... Was his AI at the time?
I think it was still what's-his-face.
I don't think it was Jarvis. Was it Jarvis?
Yeah, because it was pre-Vision.
Okay. He asks Jarvis to pull up any information he has on Projects Exodus, Projects Pegasus, and Projects Goliath. Now we know Projects Goliath was Ant-Man.
Right.
With Goliath.
Mm-hmm.
We know that Pegasus was the aerial, like with Captain Marvel and Marvel and who else? There was it with the Shield situation in Winter Soldier? I can't remember, but those are the two that we've seen.
Right.
Live action. We haven't seen Exodus.
Right.
What is Project Exodus?
Right. Yeah.
Really mean?
Yeah.
And that's in the movie.
Yeah.
That's just a deleted scene. That was in there. That means that back in Iron Man 1 and Iron Man 2, they were already wanting to plant the seeds for X-Men. So, that being said, having in Avengers 2 the twins, listen, you don't just get properties from Fox. Make a deal with Fox to have two mutants in your Avengers film if you don't think you're going to utilize that later. Calling them enhanced means nothing.
Right.
Nothing. That just means that they're different.
Right. I like it.
They're already laying the groundwork. So whatever they do, I think they've already thought about since the beginning of Phase 1.
Of course they had. I mean, as long as you have Nick Fury, he predates... he doesn't predate Captain America, but in the comics, like Nick Fury has the serum too.
Mm-hmm.
And he's lived a really long time. They find out at certain points in different stories. So I mean, like with Nick Fury, you could do almost whatever you want because he could hide whatever he wants. He knows everything already.
He's also ambiguous. Like his backstory. This is a big reason why I didn't like Captain Marvel was because of the treatment of Sam Jackson, the treatment of Nick Fury.
That's kind of,
you
don't know what's going on.
They took a lot of the mystique away.
Yeah.
Now we just have too many answers. And they show his, like, early in the game vibe. Like, I'm new to this. Like, fumbling with his gun kind of vibe. And, like... That's in the 90s.
But it's Nick Fury. That could always be he wanted to appear that way. I mean, look at
what I would like to see is if Nick Fury did have the serum.
Yeah.
And he's been around for a long time.
He's the perfect, like I said before, linchpin character to do it like whatever you want.
Yep. There was also some tweets that Marvel put out. Oh, man, like 4 months ago, maybe 5. And in it, they had screenshots of S.H.I.E.L.D. documents. And it had, like, white out or, like, blacked out information.
Sure.
And there was obviously, like, one for Cap. You just have, like, keywords, like...
Right.
Like, dedicated soldier... Serum, S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. And then there was one for, like, Iron Man and same sort of thing. And then there was one, Project X. Adamantium. Claws. Healing factor.
I missed that. They tweeted that?
Mm-hmm.
So at least Wolverine, and I did read something a couple days ago that said someone was, it might have been Kevin Feige was, like, talking to Hugh Jackman. Like they're talking to him now. And man, I don't know what kind of actor Hugh Jackman is, if he's like kind of done with it and wants a new challenge, or if he's attached to the character. But if he's even a little attached to the character, the prospect of getting to play Wolverine,
maybe
in
like
this
in a
MCU,
maybe in like a universe like Clash or.
They could go multiverse. They could go
Flash
Old Man
forward.
Logan.
They could do Old Man Logan.
Because Hugh Jackman's, he's still not old enough to really look like Old Man Logan yet.
No.
Even with Logan, like he was still pretty young. That short white, just all white hair, more grizzled look. Like
he's like
got
Al
time to get
Pacino.
there.
Godfather 3.
Yeah.
When they made him look old, but he really wasn't. And now Al Pacino's old.
Yeah.
This is what I think. Feige has been trying to get Wolverine in his movies since Spider-Man 1. First Spider-Man. And obviously we have hints to the mutants in Iron Man 1 and 2. Then they got the X-Men. You can't tell me that they haven't been dreaming about getting the X-Men.
Oh, of course.
This is what we will do when we get the X-Men.
Right.
Because we will get the X-Men one day.
Yeah. I mean, it makes it... Like, why else would Disney pay that amount of money? I mean, I know they got a lot of other content along with that and you know, stuff like that, but...
But we're fanboys. We
like, the hot hand right now is Marvel.
So, Hugh Jackman said in an interview after Old Man Logan or before it was released that someone asked him, like, would you ever come back and play Wolverine? He was like, I'm done. Unless it was for an Avengers film.
Yeah. Is that what he said? I thought he said something about Deadpool once. Avengers. Or him and Ryan Reynolds are always going back and forth on Instagram and stuff. Which is my favorite. But, yeah, I mean, like, because who wouldn't?
If Kevin Feige approached Hugh Jackman and was like, we have a role for you in the MCU. You're going to fight the Hulk. Do you think you know what that role is? Hugh Jackman would be like, I got you.
Yeah.
You know?
Can we un-Professor Hulk at this point? We're not stuck with...
I don't think so.
I don't think we're stuck with Professor Hulk.
I'm frustrated with a lot of things they did to him, but we'll get to that, and I hope we get to that in our...
When we do our Phase 4 wrap-up?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they could easily go back to whatever. Yeah. So I'm not concerned about that. So I want the biggest, angriest Hulk.
I want the way Hulk should have been when he found out that Natasha died.
Yeah.
I want the Hulk thinking about Natasha singing the lullaby to him in his mind as he wraps his hands around Thanos' throat. That Hulk that should have happened, I want that for Wolverine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that would have been way better. That would have been way better.
Things that should happen.
I was a big subscriber to the whole, like, Loki didn't die. Loki was masquerading as Banner, and that's why Banner couldn't turn into the Hulk, because Banner was still on the ship, and Loki was pretending to be Banner. But unfortunately...
Nope, we gotta... It seems like the Russo brothers hate the Hulk. The best Hulks were in the Joss Whedon movies.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and then when they did Civil War, they sent him off world.
Yeah, which I guess you have to just for the power balance.
That was
like,
just at the end.
Whoever has the Hulk wins. Like, whatever side he chooses.
Not really. Because here's the thing. The Hulk is destructive.
But he can't be contained or controlled.
He's not strategic.
Yeah.
He's destructive. And that's his weakness, is Banner is petrified of killing an innocent person.
Yeah, that's true.
So he never wants to Hulk out unless he really has to. At least that's canon. And so... the Hulk should be like the Hulk getting so angry that he's able to destroy a planet is not the Hulk that Banner wants to be.
Right.
Banner wants Professor Hulk because he can control him.
Yeah.
The Hulk wants to destroy a planet.
Yeah.
And then some.
Yeah.
He wants to rip off Galactus' head. You know?
Yeah.
Which maybe we get sometime. Okay.
So X-Men.
Yep.
They got to deal with, are they going to recast people? That's something I'm really interested in.
I say you recast everyone.
Wipe the slate, except Hugh Jackman.
Except Jackman and Deadpool.
Man, what's his face is a good Professor X, though, isn't he?
McAvoy?
McAvoy, yeah.
I don't like him as Professor X.
No?
And I want a New York Professor X, not an English Professor X.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I've been against that since, and I love...
Patrick Stewart?
Yeah, Jean-Luc Picard. But that's the only way I know him. I love him as Professor X, but having a British Professor X, I just never read him that way.
Yeah.
He's always been in New York. So, like, I just read him as a American. So I would like that.
Yeah, I don't mind it. And then something where they've been hidden either by, Professor X or Fury being involved, which I like. And then the Namor setup works too.
I think so. Because he's a mutant, and he's a big enough force. Like, he has the element of water at his disposal. He's a force of nature, literally, quite literally.
Yeah.
There's the other question that's been roaming around the internet. Do they make Professor X and Magneto black?
Yeah.
Then you don't have the baggage of making Magneto like age slower.
Oh, that's true. You don't have to go through the
civil rights
movement
storyline as a replacement for the Holocaust.
For that trauma that he went through. That's cool.
It's important to note that Stan Lee wrote, he created Magneto and Professor X as MLK and Malcolm X.
That's interesting.
He based them off of those characters. However, I can see both sides. I can see one side that's like, yeah, do that. That makes it a lot easier. Then you don't need to like fudge the timeline
history.
But then I could see the other side of it that's like, there is serious importance to the parallel between the mutants and the Holocaust and how the treatment of the Jews. And Magneto, like the fact that Magneto witnessed it at such an impressionable age, saw the Holocaust and escaped it, and seeing that kind of hatred towards his other people, the mutants, like the development is important culturally for Jewish people. I feel like that's been something that has been important for them. However, I could see the same way that's like, you have a kid growing up in the civil rights movement, seeing all the racism and treatment of African Americans and atrocities and hate crimes, growing up in that and comparing it to hatred of mutants also works.
Yeah.
I talked to a friend of mine who is Jewish about this to try to get his opinion.
Yeah.
He was like, I wouldn't like it, and I feel like there is way less power in it with the Jewish, having the Jewish background. Feels like there's a lot more gravitas to it. I don't know. I also talked to a African American friend of mine, got his opinion as well. He said he's always known Magneto to be Jewish, and it would be weird for them to make him
you want to keep
black
it what was on the page of the comics you grew up buying. I don't really care too much either way, as long as like the essence of the character is the same and you get the same feeling.
Yep.
Like we've had great Magnetos that have given good performances, so as long as I feel that same way, like I'm kind of cool with it.
Yeah.
I think your idea is good because it deals with the storyline, unless there's Magneto's just been behaving himself up until now.
Yeah.
I guess, and you get an older Magneto in
That'd
there.
That'd be weird.
Yeah, because that's not very Magneto.
Yeah.
To behave for that long.
I would also want, maybe they do this in WandaVision. Like, she finds out that like her biological father is Eric.
So with WandaVision though,
because you could play around with a deeper narrative and a long form narrative.
But they've said WandaVision's going to be like this 1950s, 1940s throwback kind of.
Yeah, because
we don't know how real it is or not yet, or...
Yeah, it's using chaos magic to kind of like reconjure... I mean, this is my speculation, to reconjure like, a life with Vision.
Oh, okay.
Maybe they add in there the real life aspect of it, like what's going on in reality.
In and out of her kind of this world she creates to deal with the pain of losing Vision.
And maybe even that's how you introduce Magneto as a villain.
Okay.
Away from the MCU, so it's not like he's not prevalent yet.
We got to do a Disney Plus video. Like Disney Plus is going to be so important for the next phase. Mm-hmm. Especially because like you could say, oh, they're doing a Loki, oh, they're doing WandaVision. Those might have nothing to do with whatever. WandaVision might not even be real and just like a funny thing or whatever. Mm-hmm. But they're doing Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Right.
Which is going to be a direct sequel to Endgame. Mm-hmm. Like wherever they're set. Like you can't do anything else with Falcon and Winter Soldier because we always know where they've been the whole time.
Right.
So yeah, you could definitely do that.
You can, and I mean, there's a lot of ways they're going to tie in these movies, the TV shows. I think like you're going to have. I mean, you might even have She-Hulk, Jessica as one of maybe the opposition to Matt Murdock.
Oh, because she was a lawyer too.
Call back to our last video. Go check it out. Theories on Spider-Man and Daredevil in the same movie.
Yeah, for Far From Home and what's going to happen with Spider-Man.
Yeah, so maybe...
That's interesting.
Maybe that's how you introduce She-Hulk into the movies. Yeah, man. This is gonna be something. I feel like Deadpool is gonna be another piece of the puzzle that's gonna be...
Yeah.
An interesting thing to weave in because he's obviously a mutant. He knows Colossus. Like, I feel like having that Colossus character...
That was smart on their end. Great. And the set that they have and, like, Colossus brings him in.
And keeping that... Like, I think you keep that same actor and the same voice actor.
Yeah, he has done...
He's done such a good job.
He's been real good.
Whoever's doing that, you are a treasure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Deadpool's going to be interesting because he's the one that you can sort of meta cross universes.
Exactly. We were saying that in Far From Home. Like, he knows that Disney bought Sony and makes a joke of it or whatever. And
you might even be able to utilize it in a way that's like, Deadpool didn't actually leave a universe. This has been the MCU all along.
That could certainly
because all the stuff with James McAvoy and all their X-Men proper, that's all been Easter eggs and just quips.
Right, and
hasn't been a part of the reality.
Yeah,
except that one little cameo in the X-Men.
Oh yeah, where he closes the door.
You could kind of attribute that to something. You could just write that off.
That's the great part of Deadpool, though, is what's he making a joke out of? Because sometimes he acts like he's telling you the story. And
dude, in the first Deadpool film, what were they fighting on in the end battle?
What were they fighting on? Oh, in the hospital? Or the orphanage there? Deadpool 1 or 2?
Deadpool 1.
Oh, I gotta think back now. Oh, they were fighting on the big shield
carrier.
Craft. Yeah.
A helicarrier.
Right.
You can't tell me that that's not in the MCU.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, Deadpool could have always been in the MCU and just flying under the radar at the moment. Right. Or Fury knew about him. You can always...
There's ways to make this work. I think at the end of the day, anyone that's this can't work that way, just keep an open mind because you can make any of this work. And to say that that Wanda's not a mutant because she's an enhanced and she got her powers from the Infinity Stone. Also, really, you can't just accept that it could possibly be that
the trigger, the catalyst.
Yeah. So, anyways, this was fun. We're gonna do another one about the Fantastic Four. And that's going to be coming to you soon.
Yeah. I'm so glad Marvel has these now. All right, guys.
Peace.